Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Diaphone, and today we're going to be doing a Baiken 201 guide. Well, what does that mean? Well, we have a Baiken 101 guide, and I've learned a lot more about Baiken since then, and we also have another season, and so I want to update that guide. If you haven't watched Baiken 101, it's really useful. It's actually still all up to date. Not much has changed on kind of the basics of the characters, so consider watching that after this video. You know, Baiken got some updates in season 2. I'm not going to be covering all of them. I'm going to be more talking about strategy, combos, okay, that sort of thing. So timestamps in the description below. Let's get started. All right, so yeah, I've learned a lot more about this character. Let's talk about offense, because you know this character is pretty offense based. So there's a couple things that change for her offense. One, and the main thing, is Escabari is now plus on block. That means if the opponent is mashing after, you get a combo, right? Very nice. This opens up a lot of interesting pressure, which means that before, if you hit Escabari, you didn't really get that much, and now basically it's your turn still. The layer 1 is obviously after this, you just press 5p. But people know this now. People will start blocking after Escabari, and so you need to rotate in different options. So, you know, typically the first time I do Escabari, I'll try to check them with a 5p to see if they're blocking. I'll do like something like 5p 6k, and if they block that, there's a couple things you could do after this. You can either cancel to tatami, which frame traps, right? You do 6k and then you do tatami immediately after. You get a counter hit, and then you can get big boy damage, right? But you see how this also, the 6k also spaces you out. This lets you do kind of cool pressure like this, and it can make it pretty hard to contest. As you can see there, the the opponent's setting the mash, so you can kind of play that game after Escabari or anytime you get a 6k. And if they're really insistent on blocking, usually I just go like get a run up grab or something like that, right? There's also another game you can play here, right? You can you could check them, but when you backdash after Escabari at a certain distance, which is like basically anything other than point blank, Baiken does this like weird kind of hop thing. Well, you can do a JS from this, and you see I have to delay the JS a little bit here, and you can go JS Uzansu. You're actually plus after this too. Let's say, I don't know, they're mashing like a 6p or something. And so this punishes a 6p, and you get a big boy combo. The other thing I like to do, and it's kind of the same idea, but if you backdash and you jump, and you could do a jump H into the Uzansen, right? And for a lot of characters, that GH can be kind of hard to anti-air, and it can create some really weird messy guessies, right? So yeah, in summary, check with 5p, but try to rotate in all those other options. The other situation that's changed is after H-Kabari, right? So after H-Kabari on block, you used to be able to like 6p or interrupt it. Now no one can interrupt this. There's like literally outside of like something that's invincible, you can't interrupt this H-Kabari into H-Kabari. And you get good damage. You get something like this. You can also get a wall break combo. You want people to mash after this, right? Because you want people to mash after, you can start doing pressure like this. Assuming they're gonna block, right? And then you can eventually open them up. So you want to take your turn back more after H-Kabari. And there's some things they can do, right? Like I think jumping or like a delayed jump or a delayed backdash is really good after H-Kabari. If they get hit, it's only a little bit of damage. So I'm gonna do delayed jump against both options, and you see it works pretty well. All right, let's try delayed backdash against these options. Yeah, so you see I block there, block there. I actually just backdash that. Yeah, and so yeah, these options can be pretty good. I think one of the best ways to call out that delayed backdash or the delayed jump is just to kind of hold the H-Kabari a little bit more. But you can also just let them escape, get the corner pressure, and then chase after them too. Actually, if you just hold it all the way, it will catch it at certain distances. And obviously if you RC, like you just blow them up. Oh, so you're actually plus if they backdash here. You don't get punished, but it's still your turn. So you can see you have a lot of different options after H Kabari, but the point I'm trying to make is you want to be pretty aggressive after H Kabari. You shouldn't be doing stuff like H Kabari then backdash, because again, it's mostly your turn. You know, you can occasionally block again if you think they're gonna press. I think the only reason you want to block or backdash or jump back is if you think there might be like an invincible reversal or something else coming, which is an option. But if they're DPing that gap, I mean, I'll take that all day, because the risk reward is way in your favor. The other thing I like to talk about on offense is this is a season 2 change, just Yuzansen being more plus, right? And the mind game after hitting Yuzansen has changed a bit, because you see how that 2K made a blue beat combo, which means that they can't just mash grab after Yuzansen anymore. So after Yuzansen, what I like to do is either, you know, 2K, 5K. I think that's really good. You know, you can always just go into another Yuzansen. You can always just do run up grab. Another option that's pretty good, if you, especially if they like teching a lot, because this is pretty risky, right? That's punishable on block. What you do is you jump and then you hit the air dash and hit back at the same time. And so you get this like air dash back, and then you do immediate Yuzansen. You don't get the best combo on hit, right? You get a 5S in the super if you want it. So it's just pretty good, but like if you don't have meter, you know, that's all you're really getting. It's not that good. So I'll go for like something like that. But where this really shines, let's say they're throw teching, right? They're reacting to you running up, and then they're hitting a grab. You could just run up and get a combo. The combo's a little trickier, right? But you can get a run up 5S into 2H into Kabari. The other cool thing about this, unlike the regular Yuzansen, you can't punish this. This is unpunishable. Right? And so they don't get punished, and so it's a lot safer way to bait out throw, and you still get a mix essentially. It's still a very fast overhead, especially if you cancel it immediately after the air dash like that. The other change they made was 5S is now plus. Just means you get more options after 5S, so you can do something like 5S into 5P. I think it's a pretty good string, because if they're mashing, you'll catch them out. So if you ever encounter someone that mashes a lot, I think that's a pretty good option. And then like once they stop mashing, obviously you just go 5S and to run up. Also, I'll share another favorite gimmick of mine is you can dash cancel this 5S. And what I've been doing, and the 5K, so I've been like running up, and then I've just been doing air dash back Yuzansen. So a lot of people try to grab there, and you know, that beats the grab, and then you get kind of the combo we talked about before. All right, cool. Let's talk about defense. So you have a bunch of different options, right? So obviously you have parry, 1 through 6 frame startup, talked about in the last guide. It's very good, beats a lot of type of meaties, but you can't rely strictly on parry, right? There's a lot of matchups where parry just doesn't work because Ram throws her sword at you and it's meaty or something like that. A really good option is you just do delayed meaty against Baiken, right? So let's say, you know, I just run up and I'll do a delayed 5S. And if I do try to parry, I just get counter hit. And so how do you beat this, right? Well, you have a couple of different ways, right? One, you can just mash grab. Two, you can just, and this is probably the best option to do nowadays, is mash 5P. They made 5P form frames, which is really fast, and you get a consistent combo from it, right? I mean, that's tether combo, but you get what I mean. There's also a few other options that you can do. What a lot of people do is they like to beat your parry with a grab. So they'll grab you and then they'll try another grab. I think Wake Up Yuzansen is very good for this kind of scenario. Right, you can really punish them for that throw. Do you have to keep in mind that I think a safer option is just do a delayed jump, right? You can time a jump, and this is, every character can do this, right? Time a jump where you block a meaty and you jump the grab. And basically it's just, you just do a micro wait, you do a short wait, and then you backdash, right? Same thing with jump. Another really good option from this is you just do IED back. Because your IED backbone is so good, this JS, if especially someone's like really respecting parry, right? You can get something like that just for like a defensive air dash back in the corner. So that's another way to beat throw, but can also be, you know, people just being patient, trying to, you know, wait up parry or something like that too. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that I think super jump can be pretty decent, right? So if you just like do delayed super jump on wake up, it's pretty safe because again, it beats throw and it beats a meaty. And then after that, you can dash out. And what a lot of people like to do is they'll do a dash out and then they'll use Yuzansen. So they'll do something like this. And so if they try to chase you, they just run into Yuzansen and they just die for that. So pretty good. The counter to that is like a lot of people just wait. They'll just like literally wait for you to air dash out, and then they'll jump up and scoop you. And that, you know, you obviously can mix up like super jump and then just land, and then, you know, try to play those mind games. But you have to be active in this game, and you have to rotate your options very well. That's the one thing I'll say about defense is, you know, Baiken can rotate her options really well. If you become too predictable, if you're always parrying, if you're always mashing, it's gonna be very easy for the opponent to figure out what you want to do, and they'll just exploit it. And don't be afraid to block. And block is still really good. You don't always have to do something. Block, FD, and you know, take your turn. All right, last we're gonna talk about neutral. So 5S, it's way better. It's very good. It's like impossible to whiff punish, right? But you can kind of catch someone if they're doing like 5S into 5S. You know, you can catch that follow-up. But yeah, don't be afraid to do it, but also don't be afraid to like mix up your options after a 5S whiff, right? 5S whiff into a JH or backdash or just block, or, you know, another 5S. Make sure you're mixing up your options, but you really want to use 5S a lot. What a lot of people will do in response to this 5S is they'll actually like try to preempt you with a 6P, because again, 6Ps have upper body info, and they'll get something like that. So you may be wondering, how do you beat this? So you have a couple ways, right? You can whiff punish that 6P. It's kind of hard to react to with a 2H. Actually, I guess I reacted there. Like if you try to react with a 2S, you don't get as much damage, right? The other thing you could do is just preemptive 2S to stuff it out. Again, 2S, 2H, H-Kabari, that's like your bread and butter right there. So if you see someone starting to 10 towards 6P, start doing that stuff. The other issue that you'll encounter is that people will start to they'll just outrange you. So let's take Ram, for example. Ram probably like top 1 this patch, if not like top 5. And the character I think a lot of people have issue with, right? So what do you do against this? You can't really I mean, you can get that, but that's hard to do on reaction, right? I guess you could do that, but it's not that much damage, right? It's 35 damage compared to, you know, all the other damage. So what else can you do? Well, something that's really good is just throwing out this H-Kabari, because not only do you get more damage, but you get a mix-up afterwards too. H-Kabari in general, it's like very dominant around like this range right here. So if someone's trying to space out those really long-reaching pokes, H-Kabari is your go-to answer. And then if they're just waiting, you know, you can dash up and 5S them. H-Kabari can also be really good from this range, and you might be like, why would you do this? Well, one, you're safer from people air dashing in at you. Like air dash is like the #1 way that H-Kabari gets beaten, right? So from this range, right, you're safer from that air dash. I mean, against Ram, you know, she could do JS, but you know, most characters can't really do much from that range. The other thing is you could play this mind game where you either just whiff a H-Kabari early and then do something else after. Just kind of use as like a movement option, because you see it recovers very fast, right? That can be really tough to deal with. Or you can hold it, and look how far this goes. The other benefit is that it's safe from a range like this. While H-Kabari is punishable, no one can punish it from that range. No, absolutely no one. So you can kind of mix up those two options and really throw people off. The other thing that's very good about this character is just jump in IED JS. Very, very strong, but of course it loses a 6P. And actually you'd think like this JS would be like really good against 6P, because like it looks really disjointed. That's not true. It's like it super loses the 6P. It's like they specifically coded it to like lose to every 6P. So if you think you're gonna beat 6P with that JS, yeah, you're mistaken. But you have some ways to beat this, right? So one thing you can do is from like space distance like this, you can do like a delay Yuzansen. And you see how that kind of stalls your air momentum? And so it can, you know, Ram recovered there, but that can punish some 6Ps. The other thing you can do, you just shoot the gun and then you get Oki, right? Also, don't be afraid to like dash in and just block. When you dash and you FD, you kind of like cut your jump short, right? So there's a certain range where you'll actually make the 6P whiff. And then you can't really get a punish a lot of the time, but you can at least like get on block pressure after they whiff the 6P. So yeah, you have a lot of different options in neutral. You just, again, rotation is the name of the game here. You got to make sure you mix it up, be unpredictable, and yeah, use your options really well. And don't be afraid to just dash up and, you know, when people start respecting you, don't be afraid to dash up and start to get some pressure. Or like doing dash up and block. Dash up and block, very good. I recommend just, you know, getting an FD macro so you can do, you know, kind of blocking like that. All right, so combos. There's a few things that have changed in the recent patch, and there's a few things that in my previous guide I was really vague on what to do. Unfortunately, Baiken can be kind of inconsistent when it comes to light, medium, and heavy weights. You know, different characters have different weights in this game. It helps to know the weight classes of characters, but the combos that I'm going to teach are like pretty independent of weight class. I personally hate memorizing a bunch of combos, and I'm sure you do too. So I'm gonna teach that stuff. So all right, let's talk about some of the big juicy counter hit combos. The basic bread and butters are in the 101 guide, so I'm not gonna recover them here. This is a route I've been going for, and this 2K seems a little weird, and it does reduce your damage a little bit, but I find it's very, very consistent, right? And you actually don't lose that much damage. The important thing is you don't want to end a Escabari combo early, because if you end it early, let's say you do something like this, well, one that drops, and yeah, I mean, that would probably work against some of their characters, right? But let's try maybe this. Oh my god. All right, I'm actually gonna, it's not gonna drop this time. But let's say you just freestyle a combo like this, right? Like that can happen, or something like this can happen, right? And they're still tethered, which means you don't get as good of mix up afterwards. So I think it's very important to focus on stability as opposed to doing optimal damage, at least when you're starting out. Right, and so that's the route I go for after 5H. And again, the important thing is you want that tether to break so you can get good mix up afterwards. And that, of course, there's like sometimes, like if you want to be really consistent, I'll sometimes go for a reset like this. And you see, like, I lost 30 damage, but it's way harder to drop that, and you know, you can continue the pressure, right? Another cool reset I like to do. Pretty gimmicky, but yeah, I think stuff like that's you know, occasionally you want to throw it in, especially depending on like will it kill or like what the situation of the health bars, burst, the meter. Basically, if the optimal combo is going to kill, then obviously do the optimal combo. But if they don't have burst and they have like a lot of health left, yeah, occasionally you can go for a cheeky reset like that. One thing that has kind of changed over the patch is that when you get this counter hit Yuzansen, I used to just always go for this. But you can actually, you can sneak in a few different combos here, right? You can get a run up. You can do this dash cancel 5S and get a dash cancel there. Another thing you could do is just 5K afterwards, right? And you can get your standard combo here. Oh god, if you're close to the corner. Is this the tech just always super jump? Oh, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. I like that. Oh, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. All right. As long as this works against lightweights, I'm a fan. This is going to guide. All right. Yo, this is consistent as fuck. All right. This is the route I recommend. There's tons of different JD routes, but I found this one to be the most consistent. One thing to keep in mind is this 5K, you have to super jump cancel. If you don't super jump cancel it, you'll drop it. Does this work after this? And even something like that, you can kind of do the same route. So yeah, practice that route. I think it's the best, but there's definitely more optimal routes out there if you want to drill into it. A couple other things that you need to know combo wise from the last patch. On hit, this combos actually, you can get a 5P6K. So what I've been doing is like I just do something like a reset. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Or, you know, you can always another thing you can do after these like weird tether ranges, you can just do Escabari, reset into Escabari. I think that's pretty good too. And on counter hit, you can literally make them explode. You literally just get a 2H and you can go into like whatever you want. So yeah, I'll do something like that, but it's pretty rare I get that that counter hit Escabari, to be honest. Okay, so let's talk about some common scenarios that you'll get a combo, right? One way to optimize your damage with Baiken is you'll get this counter hit first hit H Kabari. You can obviously just go into this second hit, but that's only 71 damage. But you can actually get a run up 2k and get quite a bit more damage. It's pretty good. And if they're crouching, you know, you can get, oops, wait, this doesn't work on heavies? Really? Okay, so I guess it's distance dependent. Okay, so it's distance dependent. What? All right, well, I guess don't do this combo against heavyweights. Another common conversion is you'll get this like JS Yuzansen a lot. What I like to do is just go run up 5S, 2HS into Tatami. But if you get them low to the ground enough, you can also get this H Kabari knockdown, which is generally a little bit better. Sometimes you'll actually be at this like really far range, where if you try to do run up 5S, it'll actually be a purple beat. So what I like to do here is just do a run up 2k, 5k into Tatami. Another interesting situation is that sometimes you'll hit people in the air like this, and so if you go to Tatami, that will whiff. So make sure you get good at hit confirming this into H Kabari. Something I still gotta practice a little bit. All right, so my favorite Yuzansen combo now is going fast RC Yuzansen. And so what you do here is it has to be a normal jump Yuzansen. What that means is that you can't do a super jump Yuzansen because then you lose your second jump. So you can either do this by like canceling a Yuzansen to 9, 2, 3, 6, or you can just do like a charge Yuzansen. So literally hold down and then do the motion for Yuzansen. And then once you fast cancel, do the jump cancel. Oops, I did that unoptimally. And fast cancel. Make sure you do 5H there. A couple other miscellaneous combos. Yeah, and so you can get pretty good damage off that. So yeah, that's it for combos. But I do want to say Memo Carb, one of the best Baikens in the world, actually has a YouTube channel and has more combos and more combo recipes. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link down in the description below, because honestly, there's a lot of combos you need to learn with this character. One other thing I want to talk about is dash cancels. So Baiken can actually use, what you can do is you can dash cancel like her 5k and her 5s into a dash. But if you cancel the startup of this dash into a special, you can like kind of do like a what we call a Kara, but basically you're doing like a advancing special move. And so this actually comes up a lot, and I think optimal Baiken, again, I wouldn't bother with this unless you're like already Celestial, but she has a combo where you'll be in this situation a lot and you'll land this 5k, and if you do this 5k into Kabari, so sometimes that'll work, but at certain ranges, you see how it just whiffs, right? So in order to like make that way more consistent, what you can do this 5k dash cancel. You see I dashed forward there, I got that little bit of extra momentum, and that allowed me to, you know, complete the combo. So, you know, if you're looking for something a little more advanced, practice that. I do think it's practical because you'll be landing the 6k Tatami quite a bit. All right, so let's talk about Oki. So I talked about Oki in my original guide a bit. There's three main situations you get Oki, right? Throw, H Kabari, and Tatami, right? The layer one, kind of what we talked about, was after H Kabari, you can do IED Tatami. It saves jumps, and you know you can block, right? And the same thing with like after Tatami combo, you just do IED JH, that saves jumps, and you can block. But there's a lot more you can do with that, and I think optimal Baiken really mixes this stuff up really well, right? So let's talk about some of the options you have after 2k2d Tatami. So you can do JS into Yuzansen. You can whiff a JS into a throw. You can whiff a JS into a low, right, and then do this combo. Or you can just do a delay Yuzansen. And all these beat different things. Let's say the opponent is doing like a delay grab. Just bear with me and pretend this this grab is delayed. Right? So if I go for an empty low, I actually just get punished, right? But if I want to like punish this grab really hard, I can do empty jump Yuzansen, and get a nice big combo for it. So you have to mix up all these different options, I think, in order to be really strong with Baiken. The other thing, so after H Kabari, if you want the same exact Oki that you get after Tatami, all you do is whiff a 2P, and it's exactly the same situation. You can use all the different options that we were using before, but you also get some interesting options, right? You can do like a super jump, and then you can go for like same side. You can go for a cross up. The cross up's like very dependent, so sometimes you'll have to forward jump to get the cross up Yuzansen, and then you get a combo afterwards. You can also go for like empty low stuff here, so depending on like how high you do the neutral jump here, you can get a really tricky to block empty low as well. And then obviously you can still do the same things where you do that delayed overhead, and the overhead and low hit at the same frame, so it can be kind of hard to block consistently. Another thing that you'll see a lot of Baikens do is they'll do B or C. So they'll Tatami and then B or C, and either just go high or low. Doesn't really matter which, like obviously you want to mix it up, but you get a combo either way. Some more optimal combos you can find online, but the reason I would do BRC is to bait like a YRC, or to bait someone bursting, or if they're low on life and you're not worried about the additional damage you need or something like that. I think BRC is all like really good in those kind of situations, just to like kind of bait out a response. Like if they're YRCing your Tatami, BRC is the best thing because you can react to the YRC. Yeah, I guess the other situation is throw. So there's tons of different mix-ups you can do after throw. The important thing though is to make sure you have like a couple really important go-tos, right? You could do same side Yuzansen, you could do cross up Yuzansen. You just have to do it like really high up. You can also do empty low, and all these are just immediate super jump and then the option, right? But also don't be afraid to just regrab as well. Another setup that I see a lot of people do is they'll do forward jump, and they'll either do empty 2D, which beats a lot of options, or they'll do air dash back in the JH Yuzansen. It doesn't matter which one you do because they're all like really strong and really cheap. The important thing is that you just mix up your options. You can do the same thing in corner, right? But obviously the mix up isn't as strong. You can do some like corner steal setups. So you can do something like that, which is basically just backdash and then forward jump. Dash forward. There's also, you can always go for Tatami as well. It's really good against like Baiken, for example, because you don't want to risk getting parried. Same thing like maybe against Leo, because they can always just DP the mid-screen setup. So sometimes I do like going for super jump Tatami, but I think the other stuff I showed you before is honestly better. All right, so yeah, I think that's it for the Baiken guide. You guys got any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and if you have some additional Baiken tips, let me know as well. I'm gonna still keep playing Baiken. I know this is like released around the time DNF Duel's coming out, so you'll probably see some DNF Duel stuff on the channel, but trust me, I love this character, I love this game, so not going anywhere. So if you want to see more, consider subscribing and like and share the video. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.